This episode may contain content of a graphic nature, including descriptions of physical and sexual violence against adults, children, and animals. Listener discretion is advised. Hi everyone, I'm Talia.
And I'm Tanya.
And together we are Crimes and Consequences, a true crime podcast. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Talia.
Welcome back, everybody, to this week's Crimes and Consequences. I hope everybody had an excellent week. Did you?
I always do.
Absolutely, me too. Sarcasm inserted.
Heavy on the sarcasm.
Well, I have a great episode for you all today. It's got some 911 calls that are pretty heartbreaking, so you're warned. Before I start, I want to ask everybody to hit the subscribe/follow button on whatever amazing app you're listening to right now.
Let's do it.
And with that, I'm ready.
Let's go.
All right. So this starts out, we're talking about a woman named Melinda Pleskovic. She grew up in the small town of Strongsville, Ohio. Strongsville is a little bit south of Cleveland, a little to the west. At the time, maybe like 40-some thousand people living there, and she grew up in a really loving family. As a young adult, she met and fell in love with a guy named Bruce Pleskovich, and it wasn't long thereafter that the two ended up getting married. At the age of 22, Melinda got a bachelor's of science degree in education, and she started teaching at an elementary school. And together through the years, the couple had 3 children. They had Megan, Anna, and Kyle, who was born with Down syndrome. Both Bruce and Melinda were active in their community. They were active parents. Melinda coached her daughter's soccer team, and they doted on their children. They were just like an amazing family. They lived in this 4-bedroom home with a 2-car garage on Blazing Star Drive. Blazing Star Drive was a quiet neighborhood. It seldom was plagued with crime. And their house was, like I said, it's kind of your typical suburban home. It's a 2-car garage. They've got a basketball hoop. And in the back, they have a patio. And there's a field that separates their home from the neighbors. In 2017, Melinda was 49 years old. And she'd been teaching 6th grade for 27 years. She was loved by everyone at the school. Bruce was 52, and he worked as a senior accountant for a bank. Now, Kyle, as I told you, was born with Down syndrome, and he was nonverbal. In 2017, he was 18 years old, and he obviously lived with them, and he went to high school. Megan was away at college, and she was active on the soccer team. And in 2017, Anna was engaged to her high school sweetheart. His name was Jeff Scullin. The two of them had been dating for years, since at least 2015. Now, Jeff came from a more troubled family where there was a lot of fighting. And in 2016, a year earlier, Anna found out she was pregnant. So the Pleskoviches invited Jeff to move in with them. And Anna and Jeff began living in the basement. They were engaged. And that way they could save up money for the wedding, which was going to be October 28th of 2017. Jeff didn't end up graduating from high school. Instead, he obtained a HVAC certificate, which is what for heating and cooling.
Yeah,
and
like installing furnaces and
he got a good job, which helped them save for their wedding. And Anna worked at Applebee's. In January of 2017, so now we're in the beginning of 2017, Anna gave birth to a healthy baby girl whom they named Aurora. Everyone was just overjoyed with the birth of Aurora, the newest member of their family. And Melinda was especially excited to be a grandma. She was going to have Aurora call her Grammy.
Oh.
It was after the birth of Aurora that Jeff and Anna actually began making preparations for their fall wedding. And Anna would go with her sister and her mom and try on dresses. So she ended up getting a dress. But the year of 2017, although Aurora was born and the wedding was being planned and it should have been an exciting year, it ended up being a really terrorizing year for the Pleskoviches. During that year, 4 different members of the family called 911 4 times to report suspicious activities at their residence from January until October. And what happened to them ranged from missing car keys to an attempted home invasion. And there were also many calls, not to 911, but just to the police department in and of itself. The first call was on January 12th, and that was made by Bruce, who phoned to report that someone had stolen his laptop case from his car, which contained a checkbook, and he had $350 in cash in it. He believed it happened overnight when his car was parked in the driveway. The next 911 call was from Anna, and that was on July 14th. Anna called 911 saying there was 1 adult and 2 teenagers hiding behind the house. During the conversation, she claimed that when she yelled at the 3 people out back, the older member that, like I said, appeared to be an adult, yelled to the rest of them, "Run, run," and they all took off. In that police report, it noted that Anna didn't really want to speak to the police. Like, she didn't want an officer to come over to the house and speak. She just wanted someone to come out and check the area and make sure there was no one around. Then on September 8th at 8:24 p.m., Melinda called the police to report her keys had been stolen. At first, she thought she misplaced them because God knows I have
Amen.
misplaced my keys at least once today alone. But now she believed someone had taken them, and someone was messing with her. They were intentionally setting off the panic button on her car in odd hours of the evening, many nights in a row. In addition, they would turn her car on at like 4 a.m. and shut it off. And her and Bruce also noticed that money was vanishing from their home. At first, it was small amounts from their dressers, like 1s and 5s, some little bit of money they put in their dresser. Melinda made a post on Twitter, and it said, quote, "Getting on a first-name basis with Strongsville police. Someone please tell the people trying to break into my house that I have no valuables," end quote. Then again, her car alarm would go off in the middle of the night. She would find her car unlocked, even though she knew she locked it the night before, so obviously she has another set of keys. In frustration, she wrote on Facebook, quote, "Whoever still has my stolen keys was playing with the remote at 4 a.m. and started the van at 7. Leave us alone," end quote. One morning, Bruce found that someone had embedded nails into the tire of his truck.
Oh, man.
And again, he called the police and he reported that they were being harassed. They set up cameras around the house, but whoever was harassing them ended up breaking the cameras. The very last call to 911 was made by Jeff on Thursday, October 18th. During that call, Jeff told dispatch that around 11 p.m. that night, someone had tried to break into the family home by forcing the back sliding glass door open. Because remember, I told you there was this patio in the back. The intruder was able to open the door about 3 inches, but couldn't get inside the house because there was this wiffle bat that was blocking the way.
Blocking the sliding door.
Yeah, right. Like we have.
Yeah, a dowel in it.
Yeah. Jeff's pit bull, he named Moose, was scowling and barking at the man, which is how it got Jeff's attention. And the man took off running into that field I described. Jeff described the man as being a white male. He was approximately 6 foot 1 inch tall with a thin build. He was wearing a blue Hollister hooded sweatshirt with a hood pulled up, blue sweatpants, and the sweatpants had stripes. Someone had been messing with the Pleskovich's family for months, but it didn't feel like to the Pleskoviches that the police were doing anything about it. They were really getting frustrated. On October 23rd of 2017, the family made plans to have dinner at Applebee's, where Anna worked as a waitress. Bruce received a text from Melinda at 4:25 saying to meet her first at a place called Brew Kettle, and that she was at home with Kyle and baby Aurora. She was watching them, and that she would be there soon, and then they would go to Applebee's. But she never arrived, so Bruce ends up going to Applebee's. And then a little bit after that, Jeff arrives, and they wait for Melinda and Aurora and Kyle. And they're waiting, and they're waiting. And Bruce texts Melinda, and she doesn't respond. He calls, and she doesn't answer. While they're waiting, they decided to order some food. After an hour of not hearing from Melinda, the two men grew really concerned to the point that they decided, you know what, maybe we should just drive back home and see what's going on. I mean, it's
that
an
makes
hour.
sense, right?
It's an hour.
She knew they were meeting, right?
Yeah, and then she originally was going to meet at the brew kettle and didn't show up. So Jeff hops in his car, Bruce hops in his truck, and they drive to the Blazing Star home. The first thing they noticed was that Melinda's van was parked in the driveway still, and the lights were on in the house. So they're like, oh, she must be home. When they got to the front door, it was locked, and so they used their key to enter it. When they entered it, Bruce yelled out for Melinda, but he didn't get an answer. But Jeff and Bruce could hear Kyle making some sort of rumblings, sounds in another room. As Jeff and Bruce entered the kitchen, they found Melinda laying on the floor, covered in blood, not moving. Bruce grabbed his phone, called 911, but he stood there in shock, as you can imagine.
Oh, I bet.
Jeff quickly ran and he got Aurora from the room she was in, and he got Kyle from another room, and he took them outside. He didn't want them to see the shape that Melinda was in. I mean, the scene was bloody. Prior to Bruce and Jeff arriving home, police had already received a call from one of the Pleskovich's neighbors saying that their family dog was on the loose.
That pit bull?
I don't know if it was the pit bull, but one of their dogs was on the loose, and this was unusual enough for the neighbor to actually call the police. So Bruce, in a state of shock, he calls 911, and here's Bruce's 911 call.
911, what's the city of your emergency?
Strongsville, Ohio. We have people on the way already.
What's the address?
Blazing Star. I think someone killed my wife.
You think someone killed your wife?
Yeah, it looks like she has stab wounds on her back. We've had people trying to break in our house all year.
Sir, I understand, sir. I need to ask you questions, okay? Are you there right now?
I just got in the door with my new son-in-law. My son was here with her.
Sir, what I want you to do is walk outside and stay in the front, okay? You said she's stabbed in the back?
Yeah, I don't want to...
Yeah, if you don't...
I think
you can start CPR.
I don't think she's... Her face hit the ground, and there's blood. There's a pool of blood.
Can you see if she's breathing?
No, she is not.
Do you think
as I got in.
Start CPR?
No.
Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to go outside. Everyone in the house, go outside and wait in the front, okay?
Haley, who thinks she's stabbed in the back?
Do you see anyone else in the home?
My son was here. He has Down syndrome. She sent me a text to meet me at Brew Kettle at 4:25. I didn't hear from her. I didn't expect this.
No, sir, I understand you're upset, but where's Kyle at in the home?
He's outside with Jeff, our son-in-law. You know, we've asked people to watch our frickin' area. We've had people attempt to break in just this week.
Sir,
I don't know what's going on in this city,
sir,
but this is getting done here.
I understand you're upset, but can you give me your name, please?
No, you
Sir,
people dropped them.
Sir, can you just take a deep breath? Is there any...
This whole city's getting freaking taken over.
Sir, I understand you're upset, but I need you to stay focused, okay? You don't think you can perform CPR, correct?
She's in the kitchen. I can't believe this. We've had a break-in all year. Things have been stolen and missing. Where's she at? To the left. I saw this chair down.
You said she's in the kitchen? She is in the kitchen?
When was last time you were saying?
Sir...
About 5, I got here, we got home about 3 minutes ago.
You said she's in the kitchen?
You saw her.
What's your name?
This morning, 7:30 a.m.
What's your name?
Like I'm her husband.
Okay, what's your...
We've had people trying to break in our house, a lot. They flash our cameras. We're getting targeted, and I don't know by who's doing this, but I'm pissed.
Okay. Do you see the medics there, the police there yet?
Everyone's here.
Okay, go speak with the police officer. I'm going to disconnect with you, okay?
I can't believe this.
Can you go speak with the officer that's there?
I was trying to text her all the time to go out to eat. It's our usual routine.
Sir, do you see the officer there?
What's that?
Do you see the officer?
There's 2 officers here.
Okay, go speak with them. I'll hang up with you.
Yeah.
So that was Bruce's 911 call, and a little bit was cut out because all they're doing is he called 911 and then talked to somebody and they switched to another dispatch. After his 911 call, then Jeff is outside. He's holding Aurora with Kyle next to him, and he speaks to 911. And here is some of that call.
Southwest 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Somebody's been attacked in my house.
Somebody's been what?
Attacked.
What's the address?
Home. 17784 Blazing Star Drive.
17784 Blazing Star Drive? They attacked who? Who was attacked? Someone get my fires.
Mel Pleskovic. Mel Pleskovic was attacked.
He was attacked by whom? Do you know?
She was. No, we just came home. She's on the kitchen floor. I took her son and my daughter outside. Her husband is inside with her now.
So the husband attacked her?
No. We just came home.
You came home and found her injured on the floor?
We found her in the kitchen. She's not moving. I took the kids and I walked outside. I didn't know.
So did she look like she was beaten or what?
She has blood all around her. I didn't look. I grabbed the child and left. Can you please send someone here?
I am. Hold on a moment. Don't hang up, sir. Do not hang up. Sir, is there a dog at the house? No. Maybe the dog got out.
Black lab.
Does she have a black lab?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna send medics. Don't hang up. Is she conscious? Do you know?
I don't know. Bruce,
you don't know?
Bruce
Okay. Okay. Hold on.
So we have two small kids.
Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna get fire going. Hold on a moment. Sir. All right. I need to get.
A lot of blood.
There's a lot of blood. Okay.
Yeah, I only got a glimpse at her, but I'm outside.
How do you know this woman? Is she?
I live here. She's my fiance's mother.
It's your fiance's mother. Okay.
Yes.
Is she had anybody trying to harm her, harass her, anything like that?
No.
What is your name?
He's right here. I have Kyle. My name's Jeff. Jeff Scullen.
Who's talking to you right now?
That's Bruce Pleskovic. She's her husband. We just came home together.
Okay, and what's Bruce telling you? Is she conscious?
She said she has multiple stab wounds, and he's on the phone with somebody else.
Okay, she's got multiple stab wounds.
That's what he just came out and told me. We hear the ambulance.
Okay, they're coming, okay?
So that was the 911 call from Jeff. And as you can tell, there's just this chaos going on at that Blazing Star home. And nobody knows what to think of what they're seeing. It's just really, really sad to me. When EMT and the officers arrived to the house, they found Melinda laying on the kitchen floor. She was unresponsive, bleeding profusely. There was just blood everywhere in the kitchen. One of the chairs had been overturned. Eventually, they took her body to the medical examiner, and the medical examiner concluded that she had sustained at least 35 stab wounds to the back.
Oh.
And 3 gunshot wounds.
What? She'd been shot too?
She'd been shot too.
Damn.
She was transported to the Southwest General Hospital, where she was pronounced dead at 9 p.m. So who would want to kill this 49-year-old teacher of 27 years? Before I tell you more, we're going to take a quick break. To seasoned investigator Officer O'Sullivan, Melinda's injuries were indicative of a crime of passion. This just didn't seem like a random break-in that had gone wrong. It's in the afternoon, late afternoon, and there wasn't any sign of a break-in. To him and all the other investigators, her murder just seemed too personal. The injuries she sustained, they were overkill. I mean, it was just too violent to be the result of an intrusion gone wrong. The investigators began focusing on Melinda's family, of course, and then close friends. In the beginning, they were all considered suspects. The first thing investigators did was try to get Bruce, Jeff, and Melinda's cell phone records, mostly because they were interested in looking at the GPS locations. While they're doing their investigation, a funeral service was held on October 28th for Melinda. That was supposed to be the day that Anna and Jeff had intended on getting married.
Oh, how sad.
Poor Anna.
Right. Oh, man.
Instead of having a wedding,
you got to bury your mom?
this is
Who's been murdered?
Unbelievable.
Oh, how sad.
I mean, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's truly fucked up.
Jeff and Bruce served as pallbearers at her funeral, and then later the family had no choice but to return home. The house that was once filled with love and joy was now a reminder of the brutality and cruelty of the world around them. The days following Melinda's murder, Jeff, Bruce, Anna, Megan, they all came into the police station, all of their own free will, and they were questioned. Even during the funeral, officers were still investigating the crime. Officers had searched the vehicles of the family members that were parked in the driveway, and in the Chevrolet Silverado truck, which Jeff had been driving at the time of the murder, officers discovered something pretty suspicious. They found a knife inside his truck that had some red staining on the blade. To them, it looked like dried blood, and preliminary testing of the red substance confirmed it was indeed human blood. Yeah.
In Jeff's truck?
In Jeff's truck. The knife was submitted to a medical examiner's office for DNA analysis, and the testing revealed it was Melinda's DNA.
Oh, shit.
And it was Jeff's DNA on the knife's handle.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
I know.
Shut the fuck up.
Like, what the fuck is that about? After receiving the results of the DNA testing, officers got a warrant for Jeff's arrest. Now, he'd already been questioned on the 24th and the 26th, and he denied any involvement. On October 31st, at around 10:30 a.m., the police called Jeff, and they asked him to come in again for another interview, because by that time, they had a warrant.
Bum, bum, bum.
He ended up showing up at the police station around noon, and a detective named Detective Stoltz brought him into the interview room in the police station's detective bureau. During his interrogation, he was shown the knife, and the officers told him that the blood on the knife matched Melinda's and that his DNA was on the handle. At first, he said, okay, I didn't stab her. We got into a heated exchange over a gun, and during the argument, the gun accidentally went off, and I killed her.
But it accidentally went off 3 times?
But he had no idea how she had the 35 stab wounds to the back.
Stop it.
I reached up and just kind of snatched it from her. She wasn't holding it. I grabbed it when I was pulling it away from her and kind of just went off. And after that, that's where it was like, I don't really exactly understand. Everything's all like blurry. I don't know. It's kind of just like I lost control, I think.
Stop it.
Subsequently, Lance Fragamelli, I don't know how to pronounce his name, he was an FBI special agent and polygraph examiner. He gave Jeff a polygraph examination, and Jeff failed.
Yeah, I shot her and left her for dead, but holy shit, someone came in and just stabbed her dead body.
Yes.
Seriously.
After finding out the results, he ultimately confessed to not just shooting Melinda, but to stabbing her too, all while her son Kyle was in the home and her granddaughter Aurora was nearby.
He had to have heard, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's probably screaming.
Yeah,
or something's going on.
I don't know what Kyle heard. I mean, and he's nonverbal, so... During the conversation that Jeff had with the police, one of the officers said that he should consider writing an apology letter to Aurora so that she could know the entire truth about what happened. And if it wasn't premeditated, if it was something else and he was embarrassed about it, he should let her know that. Because years down the road, she's going to read. When she can read and write and she's in school, people are going to bully her and she's going to see things on the internet. So he should write an apology letter telling the truth. I don't know why the police wanted them to do that. Maybe it was a way of getting a confession. Jeff told the police where they could find the gun in which he shot Melinda. It was in a Buick LeSabre, and that was parked in the driveway of his parents' house. When officers searched the Buick LeSabre, they found a .357 revolver and a pair of sweatpants containing blood stains inside. Jeff was booked, and there was a $1 million bond issued. So why'd he do it?
Seriously, why?
Well, after obtaining credit card records, police learned that Jeff had tried to pay for the wedding venue on 14 occasions, but each time his credit cards were declined. He didn't have the money for the wedding venue, and eventually the venue canceled the wedding. Police believe that Melinda learned of this by one of the venue employees. I mean, it's 5 days before the wedding, and that she confronted Jeff about it. In all likelihood, Jeff had staged all the break-ins and robberies and the harassment over the 10 previous months.
He killed her because he couldn't pay for the wedding? This is the stupidest fucking motive I've ever heard.
There's nothing else that they could come up with.
This is dumb. Are you kidding me?
He got busted.
Well, yeah, he got busted. But seriously, in the scheme of life, it's not that big of a deal.
He just asked them to help out.
Right. Or why didn't he just tell them, look, I can't afford to pay for this.
We're going to get married at the court.
Right.
I don't know.
That's fucking stupid.
I know. Poor Melinda.
I mean, the whole family's ruined now because you can't pay for a wedding. Like, makes no sense to me.
And I don't understand, like, how premeditated was this? Because he's been staging these robberies and stuff for 10 months.
Right. Like, and why is he doing that? It's fucking stupid. Okay, I'm sorry.
He could have just said maybe somebody robbed his money that he was going to use for the venue or something like that. Right. I don't know. I'm coming up with things. Jeff sat in jail for a year waiting trial, but eventually on October 17th in 2018, he withdrew his not guilty plea and entered a plea of no contest to 7 offenses that he was charged for. On October 29th of 2018, the trial court imposed an aggregate prison sentence of life with the possibility of parole after 33 years. At his sentencing, Anna, his ex-fiancée and mother of his child, spoke. And here's what she had to say.
Good morning. My name is Melinda Pleskovic. This is kind of addressed to you. My point is, Jeffrey Scullin should never be allowed to walk free again. The extent of his monstrous actions has forever crippled the lives of everyone he knows. My mother, Melinda, will never be coming back, and that egotistical boy has absolutely no reason or right to rip her away from us. I say boy and not man, because a man doesn't harm his loved ones. A man owns his actions and decisions without hiding behind lies. A man supports his family and would do anything for his children. Jeff has done none of these things. Because of his heinous crimes, my brother lost the best mother a child with Down syndrome could possibly have. My father lost his best friend and soulmate. My sister and I no longer have our smart, beautiful, and respectable role model mother to guide us. And my daughter, Aurora, lost her cherished Grammy. The worst part is that someday I will have to sit her down and explain this horrifying nightmare to her. I'll have to find a reason as to why her father chose incarceration and lies instead of his baby girl. And to be honest, I have no idea where to even begin. Jeffrey needs to never have the option to inflict this pain on another human being again, because he most definitely will kill again. He is a manipulator, a pathological liar, a thief, a sociopath, and above all, a sadistic murderer. He shows no remorse and deserves to spend his days away from the innocent. Sincerely, myself, Melinda's daughter, and his ex-fiancé. Thank you.
That was sad.
Yeah, that was pretty heavy.
And here is what the judge had to say to Jeff at his sentencing.
The victim, Melinda Pleskovic, just 49 years old, was savagely murdered by you, Mr. Scullin, in the kitchen of her home, which she had generously made your home. You shot her 3 times and stabbed her a minimum of 35 times. You did so while her son, Kyle, who has Down syndrome, must have been or was in the home. You did so with your own daughter and her granddaughter, Aurora, close by. Then you had the audacity to sit down for dinner with her husband, Bruce, at Applebee's, where their daughter, Anna, worked. Then you returned to the scene of your vicious crime and allowed Bruce to go into the home that he shared with his wife and children and find his wife on the kitchen floor in a pool of blood. You served as a pallbearer at Melinda Pleskovich's funeral, knowing that you were the person responsible for inflicting upon her loved ones and many friends all of the pain, shock, sorrow, and heartache they were experiencing and continue to experience a year after you murdered her. Melinda, or Mel, as she was known to many, was the beloved wife of Bruce, mother to 3 children, Megan, Anna, and Kyle, and the grandmother of your own daughter, Aurora. There is no doubt that Mel's family and friends miss her terribly, and they continue to suffer each day because of your heinous actions. They do not understand how you could have killed this wonderful woman who opened her home to you and helped you. As you said, she was like a mother to you, and your relationship with her facilitated the offense.
That's so sad.
Jeez.
This whole story is so sad. You look so sad right now.
It's a complete pisser. It's just...
This is a major
you
pisser.
just are reminded all of the ramifications of someone being murdered. And this asshole is just...
so cruel.
Right. And, acting so upset on the 911 call. And
he seemed more upset than Bruce. No offense to Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce was, I'm sure, in shock.
I'm sure he was in shock because I'm sure, holy shit, I don't ever want to see that. But yeah, and for what? Like I was saying 2 minutes ago. I mean, why? The motive is so stupid.
I know.
And it's vicious.
So he must have, after Melinda
confronted him,
text, killed her, and then went about to Applebee's.
Yeah, just hanging out at Applebee's.
Ordered food,
had dinner.
and kept himself together.
And let his baby stay in the house with no one to take care of her, number one.
And then Kyle.
Yeah, and then poor Kyle. Unbelievable. This story is just making me angry.
I know. I want to let you guys know the sources I got for this case. I got the case records from the Supreme Court of Ohio. There were some articles like the Daily Mail. There was another podcast called Minds of Madness that was really good. And a few others that I'll put in our show notes. I want to thank you guys all for listening to that one. That ruined my day.
Yeah.
If you guys want to see pictures of Melinda and the family and see what asshole Jeff looks like, you can go to our website, Crimes and Consequences. You can find us on social media at Hardcore True Crime. You can become a patron. Patreon. Go to patreon.com/TNT Crimes, where you can get stories like this released early and ad-free. Plus, we have like a couple hundred additional minis and fulls out there. That's patreon.com/TNT. And what else?
I think that's everything.
Man, that was a pisser. Oh, we have our Apple channel.
Oh, yes. You can subscribe through Apple, through the podcast app on your iPhone.
Yeah. You get the same stuff like you can at patreon.com/TNT Crimes.
Yep. There are still free episodes on Apple.
Yes.
We get reviews every once in a while saying that we charge for everything. So, I mean, obviously, if you're listening to this for free, you know that. But some people don't.
Yeah. So I guess we should be talking to them, not these people.
Right. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Thank you guys all for taking the time to listen. I hope you have a beautiful week.
Thank you, everyone. Until our next episode.
Don't kill each other.
Bye.
Bye.